after this important grog.
Well, it's 4-4 as we move into overtime here at the Coliseum. Checking the other scores, Calgary 5-4 over Philadelphia. Hislop, Poplinski, Lever, and Randy Holt with a pair scoring for Calgary. Holmgren, McLeish, Clark, and Barber for Philadelphia. Calgary now leads the series 3-1. The Rangers beat St. Louis 4-1. Goals by Hedberg, Duguay, Vickers, and Vickers again. Zook scoring for St. Louis. That series also 3-1 in favor of New York. And in overtime, the big goal by Van Boxmeer, or Craig Ramsey, I should say, set up by Van Boxmeer in overtime. 16:32, the time of the goal. Sauvé, Perreault, Hayworth, and Van Boxmeer also scoring for Buffalo. Cicerelli, Kristoff, Payne, and Smith for Minnesota. And Minnesota leads it 3-1. The next game to be seen on CBC television in the quarterfinal playoff round will either be Edmonton at New York Wednesday night or Calgary at Philadelphia also on Wednesday night. For viewers in the Edmonton area, you definitely will be able to see the Oiler game. However, as to which game will be televised nationally, a decision has not yet been made.
Well, to set the stage, the Islanders have played plenty of playoff games. In fact, in their history, 14 wins, 4 losses. Last year, they won 6 overtime games, only lost 1. The Oilers, on the other hand, last year against Philadelphia, 2 overtime games, they lost them both. But what pressure on those young kids, the goaltenders, because once the puck gets by them, that's all she wrote. The Oilers need this one. They want to tie this game at 2. This series at 2 games apiece.
Well, right now we would like to welcome the viewers in the Calgary area and in the rest of Alberta who are joining this telecast from the Northlands Coliseum, and this Edmonton crowd on its feet, attempting to encourage these young Oilers who fought from behind in the third period to tie it at 4. And, of course, they would like to even the series at 2 games apiece. They do not want to go back to New York trailing 3-1 Wednesday night.
The Oilers have been aggressive all night. They have thrown some good checks, some good hits, but the Islanders, on a couple of defensive lapses by the Oilers, capitalized 2 goals in that second period to grab the lead. But then Brett Callaghan on the power play tied it. And how often have we seen an overtime sudden death goal end up in the first couple of minutes of the overtime period?
Lorimer lead pass to Trottier. He deflected down into the Edmonton zone. Bowles leaves it there for Fogelman back of his own goal. Up on the boards now. Hunter having difficulty trying to get out. Hunter got it back to Lowe. It was brought back in by Lorimer offside.
As you look at both of these lineups, there are so many guys that could be the hero. I guess if you're going to point to somebody, it would have to be Brian Trottier, last year's MVP in the playoffs. The Oilers have done a good job. Number 77, Gary Younger, playing some of his best hockey the last couple of games, has done a pretty good job against Trottier tonight.
Center ice pass intercepted by Gillies and dumped back into the Edmonton zone. Oh, back into his own zone, up along the boards. Lumley trying to get out of there. He does. Left wing pass to Hunter, a long shot. Melanson shears back to the corner. Now at the line, it's kept in by Fogelman. No, he doesn't keep it in. It slid out apparently, and he brought it back in offside. We should point out that Stefan Persson, who was hit with a deflected puck off the stick of Dave Hunter in the second period, has been taken to hospital for further examination. It's feared that he may have suffered a broken jaw.
Mike Bossy, the prolific goal scorer that he is, game 3 and also in this game here, Dave Hunter of the Oilers has been all over him. That familiar song, Me and My Shadow, has been very prominent.
On the face-off, Anderson flips it in. Melanson stops at back of the goal for Potvin. He must be getting a little weary by now because he has been out there a lot tonight for New York. Now it's Hagman shooting it in. Morrow back of his own goal. Ahead to Merrick to Nystrom. His pass in the center ice area broken up by Edmonton. Puck loose. Nystrom gets it again. Almost lost it there to Hagman. Hicks and Nystrom bump each other. Puck goes loose, and starting out is Anderson. Anderson in across the line. Good move. He falls, and it's dumped back in center ice by Merrick. Risto Silverman moving back into his own zone. Pass over on the right side for Hagman. Hagman shoots it in and then goes to the bench as the Oilers make a change. Potvin almost lost it at the side of the net. Flips it high to Howitt, to Nystrom. And across the line, the Islanders making a change as Coffey goes back of his own goal. Coffey, a lead pass for Callaghan. He was looking for Gretzky, too far for him. It slides down into the Islander zone. Langevin back of the goal. Langevin up along the boards to Goring. Goring, break wide, but Lorimer was unable to control it. The Islanders have to regroup. Langevin now to Goring. Goring, a rink-wide pass for Sutter, and he almost got away, but was spun around by Coffey. Now it's Lorimer shooting it back in. Andy Moog stopping it behind his own net. We have played 2.5 minutes in this overtime session. Here's a pass. Across the line offside with Brett Callaghan.
Both teams seem a little tight in this overtime, not really making the good plays that they did earlier in the game. Wayne Gretzky right now, the leading point getter in this series, just kept right on going after the fantastic season. He had number 99. He's made several outstanding plays tonight. Melanson to be particularly sharp. That one move he made in and out of two different guys as he was falling. Good save.
Bossy and Gilly. Considered to send out the Gary Unger unit. Unger, Lumley, and Hunter. The checking line for it. Doing quite an effective job against the big line for New York. It's fired in. Icing will be called as it's touched by Lowe.
I guess that would be a good way of keeping Gretzky and company off the ice, playing Trotier's line. Stamina becomes such an important factor right now. I'm sure both coaches, before the start of this overtime, had said, now look at guys, you got to make those ships very short.
Peter Pocklington, the owner of the Oilers and the premier of the province of Alberta, Peter Lougheed, watching the activity.
And another thing, Don, also is make those line changes properly. The best time is shoot it in the zone and then make your line change.
Potvin back of his own net. Up along the boards for Bob Bourne, who has replaced Clark Gillies. Bourne in across the line. Trottier going for the net. Bourne tried to center it. It bounced high and was taken in against the boards by Lumley. He's body. Bourne gets it again at the side of the net. Bossy with a spin-around shot, and Moog stood his ground. Bossy hasn't had many scoring opportunities, but all of his shots have been on the net. Now it's Lowe playing it off the glass and down the ice, and this will produce an icing call against Edmonton.
Now that was the first good scoring chance of this sudden death overtime, and Andy Moog kept his ground there, stood firm and tall, was able to keep that from going in the net. Bossy just spins around and shoots it. Moog had that short side covered beautifully. Can't say enough about this youngster. Sensational last night, the same tonight.
Off to the left of Andy Moog with 16:36 remaining in this overtime period.
You know, both teams, they don't want to sit back and just wait for something to happen. You want to force the action as long as you have that safety valve to help you out.
Here's Lorimer with the drive, and Moog makes the catch down on his knees.
Face-offs bear down on those. Lorimer. Actually, Moog had an easy time of it. Oilers did a good job of clearing the front of the net so that he can have a look at it. Nystrom, you're always fearful of him. He has a tendency of scoring overtime goals.
Well, of course, he was the overtime hero in the deciding game against Philadelphia in the Stanley Cup final last year. Back to the line. Lorimer again. A shot that is deflected wide. Now along the board. Howard fighting there with the Riviere, and finally it's cleared to center ice. Lorimer shoots it back in, but the New York Islanders were caught offside.
Wayne Merrick played his best hockey in that Toronto series, shutting down Sidler's line with Clement Martin. Used Kelly killing and as a defensive unit out there. This line here of Nystrom, Howard, and Merrick, they did some kind of checking job, and here they are against Gretzky's line.
You know, we talked, Gary, about the youth of the Edmonton Oilers. These New York Islanders aren't exactly relics. Merrick is one of the oldest players on the team at 29.
Where have all the seasoned veterans gone?
To the broadcast booth, my friend. Now it's brought in by Merrick. Howard is knocked off the puck. It goes loose in the corner. Howard gets back in there. He's a tenacious individual. He's trying to get it out front. However, it winds up in the pads of Gary LaRiviere. And we'll have a face-off in the Edmonton zone. Very tight checking in this overtime session.
Jari Kurri, his best season. What a year he had. You know, his statistics offensively are sometimes not the true story of Jari Kurri. Oftentimes you'll see the Oilers employing their defensemen to get involved offensively. Kurri, tremendous at staying back and covering up in that position. Bill Harris talked very highly about him as a defensive player. You think, Kurri, defensive player?
Well, it's an interesting story, too, about Jari Kurri having quite a sense of humor, even though he does have some difficulty with the language. He's got a meter on the clock, and some of his shots are directed at Wayne Gretzky. In back of the goal, Sutter is bodied, still manages to get the puck back to the other side to Langevin, up along the boards, kept in by Hicks. Hicks plays it back of the goal. Now it's Anderson to Messier, and Messier centered it, but it was intercepted by Tonelli. Tonelli in across the line, feeding it in front, and Sutter was tied up neatly by Hicks. Up along the boards, Messier gets it out into the center ice area to Anderson. Anderson had it knocked away from him by Langevin. And it's Sutter with it for New York. In across the line, trying to feed it to Tonelli. Tonelli spins around and takes the shot, but Sutter directed to the goal. Now Hagman brings it back for Edmonton at the line. Picked up by Anderson, but the whistle goes on the offside call, and the fans didn't like that one.
Glenn Anderson was home free. He thought he had picked that puck up before it crossed the blue line. See if we can pick it up. Hagman, he'll cross the blue line. I don't know. The only explanation is perhaps Hagman had stripped. And that took care of the offside because the puck did not cross the line when Anderson picked it up.
Now it's Potvin shooting it in for New York. Moog missed it back of the goal. Gillies gets it. Trottier back to the line. Potvin shoots, save, rebound. Another save by Moog. It's through, they bang away. And Trottier with Moog down just failed to jam it in. The best scoring chance of the game. Trottier back to the net. Still has it. Trottier trying to come out front. Now he's tied up by Lowe. Trying to center it. It goes loose. He bangs at it again. Gillies has it between his skates. They jam away at it. To the line, not out. Morrow shoots. He scores! Ken Morrow, the overtime hero for the New York Islanders as they win it 5-4. That goal coming at 5 5:41 of overtime.
Well, a tough break for the Edmonton Oilers. They battled hard. But Morrow from the point, but the pressure that the Islanders put on was tremendous here. Trottier again doing awesome work. There's the original save. Trottier, Bossy, everybody in there. And finally, it looked like Andy Moog had a piece of it. They're trying to shovel it under his pad, but to no avail. Islanders just a great forechecking job. Bossy, look at him get away. He's hit, he's knocked down, he gets hit again, he gets up, doesn't give that puck away. Look at him get away from Kevin Lowe and deflect it in front. The big guy there, Clark Gillies, and here it comes through a maze of players and catches the corner. Tough break for young Andy Moog, who played brilliantly.
Well, the Oilers came so close to getting it out of their own zone. However, they did not succeed in doing that, and Morrow blasted it from the line for the winning goal at 5:41 of overtime. And so the final score, the New York Islanders 5, Edmonton 4. And he's seen a lot of ice time as well. And of course, he's the leader of this Islander team. Now it's Hunter across the line. Shot. Melanson makes the save. Morrow back at the goal. Tied up there by Curry. Gretzky gets it. He flipped it off the glove of Melanson. He was at the side of the net, an almost impossible angle, but he took the shot, and Melanson had to flip it off the far post. Now it's Hunter. Back of the goal to Silverman. Silverman is upset by Howard. Bossy keeps it in. Bossy feeding it across the goal mouth. There's nobody there. Hunter goes back to the goal now. Starting out on the right side. Playing it in, back at the goal. Gretzky racing after it. Melanson playing it up along the boards. The Oilers were caught making a change with 2:13 left in the game. Lumley shoots it in. Along the boards, Lumley trying to keep it in, forcing a face-off in the New York zone, and he succeeds in doing just that. 2:01, the time left in the game. Again, let's go to the Stampede Corral in Calgary. Gary, what's happening?
Well, we've got some more action, and a guy that has always been a top performer for the Flyers, Billy Barber. What an individual effort he made there, cutting through the seam at the blue line, letting that wrist shot go, and the Flyers have moved to within one. It is now 5-4 Calgary in the third period. That must be getting late in the third period.
Well, it's getting late for some of our viewers on the national network. It's already tomorrow in some parts of the country. Here's Callaghan, a shot to save by Melanson. Back of the goal. Played up along the boards, kept in by Vogel and center. And Unger just failed to deflect it. Now the Islanders bring it out. Trottier in across the line and offside with Bush going with 1:44 left in regulation play.
What a great job by Lee Fogland to get back and break up that play at the blue line. He was caught down ice, put his head down, and just came back, and he was able to deflect that puck into the corner, cause the offside. Look at Lee coming across there. You can't beat effort. Talent isn't the only thing that you have to have. You have to have that heart. You have to have that desire to win and achieve.
Since they adorned his jersey with that big C, he has certainly played well in taking over the captaincy of the Oilers. He's one of the veterans, and he's been a leader out there for this team. He brings it in, going back at the net. He's bodied heavily, falls to the ice with Langevin. The puck is loose in the New York zone. Unger gets it in front of the net. Just failed to deflect it as he was being tied up by Langevin. Here's a chance for Lumley. A shot, it's knocked down and brought out by Tonelli. A 3-on-2 break. Tonelli centering it. And Sutter goes right to the goal mouth. He collides with Moog. No red light.
I mean, both of these teams have absolutely no fear whatsoever. So many times we've seen the puck carrier shoot the puck in the corner, go in there knowing he's going to get knocked off the puck. Watch Sutter. First game back. He's just coming off a serious shoulder injury. Collides with Moog, the goal post. That doesn't bother him a bit.